better, okay? Because your perception is getting better, okay? Your perception is getting better. So therefore your day is getting better. Honey, I don't know how many ways I need to rephrase it, okay? But your day and your life is getting better. Why? Because you are being mindful of the way you are thinking, okay? We do understand that thought turns into things, all right? And if we want better, we definitely have to do better, all right? So today is day 12, gratitude, right? And I was going through my notes, my handy dandy notebook, like I have been saying for you guys to get. Okay. I was going through my notes and I said, oh my goodness. Okay. Reading over my notes and I said, oh, today is really day 12 of gratitude. Okay. All right. So I think we're going to do probably about 30 days of gratitude. Let me know if you guys want to extend it, go longer, okay? Because let me tell you something, gratitude will definitely change your attitude, okay? If you are a person that is looking for what is lacking in your life, you shall receive more of the lack, okay? So you have to look at your life and say, I am so grateful for what I have while pursuing what you want. Okay. And I don't know how more basic I can explain that. But the truth of the matter is this. If you can't be grateful now for where you currently are, there's no way you will be grateful for where you are going. No way. No way. Okay. And so you guys know I always have to bring a magical book, okay? And this book, magic, okay? The Magic of Thinking Big, okay? And this book is such a phenomenal read. I went to Whole Foods not too long ago to pick up some red snapper fish so I could make, in a few minutes. But while I was, reading this, it really did something for me, okay? To the people that's out there that feels like, they can't do this because they don't have enough education, because they're not the smartest in a group, okay? First of all, if you're the smartest in your group, honey, you need to get you another group, okay? Because if you're the smartest, then how could you grow? How could you expand your mind? How could you stimulate your mind if you are the smartest in a group? And what I come to realize is this. People who normally hang around other people and they feel like superb, right? They feel like, well, I'm gonna hang around these people because, I'm higher than them. Ties right into this, what I'm about to read. And I wasn't even thinking it, but normally when you are hanging around people and you like, well, I'm the smartest in a group, and a lot of times you want to be the smartest in a group because it makes you feel superb. It makes you feel like, oh, like I know everything. These people, they don't know nothing, right? Hey, Tracy, peace to you, sis, peace to you, peace to you, peace to you. You feel like, that you are superb, you know more than them, they can't teach you anything. And I told you guys when I was a kid, I remember my father, okay, one of the things my father used to say was he used to love hanging with people that didn't have, like he wanted to have the most money out of the group, okay? And I say you need to get another group. If you the only one that have the most money in their group and everybody else don't have a lot of money, okay, you will soon eventually be like the rest of them with not a whole lot of money. See, when we surround ourselves, and we have to understand this concept that our environment, it plays a significant part, a significant role in our lives, more so than genetics. So when you are hanging around people that aren't going anywhere, that all day is gossiping what's going on. I had this guy, okay, that I had met a few days ago. And what I noticed was he just kept talking about, relationships. Now he desired to be in a relationship, right? But what he was talking about the stuff that goes on the news. Now, I don't watch the news, so I don't have a clue on what's going on with the news, okay? And if it's rather that important, I'm quite sure, like he was able to tell me what's been going on with the news. I'm quite sure that, I will find out if it's that important. So we talking, and one of the things he says is he started talking, and he asked me, sort of for my address. Right now, I don't, when I first meet somebody. Now, my younger self, was so eager for love, right, looking for love in all the wrong places. But he was asking for my address and stuff like that, and I'm like, I don't give, nobody my, which I really don't. Okay, so I see I'm just talking to you. So later on throughout the conversation, he was like, oh yeah, I know, because it's some people crazy out in the world and stuff like that. Like that dude that was, in New York, who did, X, Y, and Z to the girl and all this other stuff. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. He was like, I was like, oh, I didn't know that. And he was like, you didn't know? And I was like, no. And he was like, Dina, that was all on the news. I don't watch the news. Okay? And the reason being is, if I can't change that, why would I focus on it? If you can't change it, and so many people, they get caught up watching the news and stuff like that, and although they can't change it, they steady feeding their subconscious mind, constantly feeding their subconscious mind with all the stories that's based upon what the news is feeding you. And you just like, some people are even afraid to go out the house, because by the time you finish watching it, it's like you start thinking that people are going to be out to get you. Another story. So my oldest son, his girlfriend mother, right? I remember she was telling me, about kids and all this other stuff, what they've been doing to their parents and stuff like that. And she was like, yeah, girl, because I be scared. I said, scared? She said, yeah. She said, because, all the stories and, watching I don't watch that stuff. Now, once upon a time I used to, okay? Once upon a time I used to watch those things. But I don't watch that stuff. Okay? And the reason why I don't watch it is because, just like you would not allow someone to come to your house and put garbage all on your living room floor, okay, trash, why do you accept the trash to go into your subconscious mind? Why do you accept the trash to go into your subconscious mind? Because your subconscious doesn't know fantasy from reality. And that's where 95% of your action is coming from your subconscious mind on autopilot. And so when you're doing things and you getting certain results and you don't know why your life is chaotic or why your life is going in the direction it's going, and that is the reason. That is the number one reason. Because when you hear a story, you know what you do? You don't reject it. You accept it. So when they tell you, oh, it's about to be a, economic crash, a financial crash, what you do? You get paranoid. You get, upset, and you allow that. And that becomes your reality. And guess what? If there's a financial crash, you are affected by it because you have accepted it. Don't you know there's so many people during the Great Depression? It was so many millionaires. Even with the recession, it was millionaires created. So everything is based upon what is your perception of yourself. If you perceive that, everything that comes from the outside is true, okay, your life is going to be very chaotic. It's going to be very chaotic. Why? Because you accept whatever they say. You receive something in the mail, you just accept it. You don't reject it. You don't say, I'm not going to accept this, right? You just accept it. Sometimes when stuff Hey, Belize, peace here, baby. Peace here, peace here, peace here. Sometimes when stuff come in the mail, I don't accept it. Sometimes I even laugh at it. Okay? Because you don't have to accept it. We've been conditioned to accept, the outside. Whatever is showing up, we've been conditioned to accept it. All right? So, moving forward, okay? Cure yourself of exquisititis. Okay, I had to look up this word. Exquisititis. Okay, now just enough sense to stick with something, a chore, task, project until it's completed. Pays off much better than idle intelligence, even if idle intelligence be of genius caliber. Okay. Oh, thank you, my love. Thank you. At a homecoming celebration last year, I met a college friend whom I had not seen for 10 years. Chuck was very bright student and was graduated with honors. His goal when I last saw him was to own his own business in western Nebraska. I asked Chuck what kind of business he finally established. Well, he confessed, I didn't go into business for myself. I wouldn't have said this to anyone 5 years ago or even 1 year ago, but now I'm ready to talk about it. As I look back at my college education now, I see that I became an expert in why a business idea won't work, So many people, the name of the book is The Magic of Thinking Big. And you can get this book off of Thrift Books, okay? From here, wait, where is it? Let me see. Wait, hold on, chill. You could get this book from Thrift Books, okay? Any books that you guys need, if you go there and the prices are on Amazon or fairly expensive, you could go to Thrift Books and get all your books. So that's no excuse like, oh, well, the book costs too much. No, it's just not important. It's just not important to you. Tell the truth. Say what it really is. Don't say, it's too expensive. No, just say that it's not a priority. That it's not of importance. And that's it. Okay? All right? Because if it was important, you would get it. If you really felt like, I'm quite sure there's information out there that I perhaps could read, that if I apply the information, apply knowledge, okay, if I apply it in my life will, it can change, okay? But you know what some people do? They don't, because it's oftentimes they want stuff for free, okay? They want stuff for free. And even when they do get this stuff for free, they neglect it. Because it never was pretty much about the money. It was all about the application. Okay? It was all about the application. So if what I come to realize is this. Every step that we tend to take, it sets us up for the next step. Okay? So when I say, chances are if you don't read the book, okay, you're not going to do the steps anyway. If you're not going to read what it says in a book, you're not going to do it, right? Or if you're not going to buy the book, some people say, well, you know what one of my goals are? To have a very, very fine library, okay, with tons of books. And not just for the sake of, having tons of books, but for the sake of, damn, I read these books and I applied this information to my life, and now look exactly where I am. Okay? So you have to understand, I always say do what works for you. If reading doesn't work for you, then don't read. Okay? You can listen to personal development. I tend to like to do both, but Teach his own. You do what works for you. Okay? So getting back to it. All right. As I look back at my college education now, and I see that I became an expert in why a business idea won't work out. So you could become an expert on why things won't work, or you could become an expert on why things are going to work. Let me say that again. You could become an expert on why things won't work, or you can become an expert on why things are going to work and why they must work and why they have to work. Okay? Now, the choice is yours. The choice, we have something called free will, okay? And we always have the ability to choose exactly what we want for our lives. Exactly what we want. All right? So, now it goes on. You know, he was an expert in business ideas on why they won't work. Okay, here this guy is brilliant. He was brilliant in school. Okay, I learned every conceivable pitfall, every reason why a small business will fail. You've got to have ample capital. Be sure the business cycle is right. Is there a big demand for what you will offer? Is local industry stabilized? 1,001 things to check out. The thing that hurts most is that several of my old high school friends who never seemed to have much on the ball and didn't even go to college now are very well established in their own businesses. But me, I'm just plodding along, ordering freight shipments. Had I been drilled a little more in why a business can succeed, I'd be better off in every way today. Now listen to this one. Listen to this one. The thinking that guided Chuck's intelligence was a lot more important than the amount of Chuck's intelligence. Okay, let me say that again. The thinking that guided Chuck's intelligence was a lot more important than the amount of Chuck's intelligence. So your thinking is way more than the intellect. Okay? So now, because sometimes we can say, well, I read, I was the top in my class. Sometimes you was the top in your class. But if your thinking isn't straight, see, it's one thing to memorize the book and pass the test, okay? But it's something completely different when you feel like life is not going to work in your favor. When you look at certain and another thing, you want to know what another thing is. When people feel like they too smart, they too smart to be teachable. Too smart to be teachable. So therefore, if you too smart to be teachable, no matter what somebody could give you, what information somebody can give you, okay, for your life to improve, you will feel like, no, I know everything. Ego. Complete ego. Complete ego. So let's go on. Why some brilliant people are failures. And when the author is talking about brilliant people, he's talking about intellect. Like they geniuses, book wise, okay? It says, I've been close for many years to a person who qualifies as a genius, who has high abstract intelligence and is Theta Beta Kappa. Despite this very high native intelligence, he is one of the most unsuccessful people I know. He has a very mediocre job. He's afraid of responsibility. He has never married. And this is what he says. Okay, this is what he says. I want to see what this person I say. Oh, I can't see. Message. Oh, retracted. He's never invested in property of any kind. He might lose his money. This is all the excuses the genius is saying. He might lose his money. This man uses his great brain power to prove why things won't work, rather than directing his mental power to searching for ways to succeed. Because of the negative thinking that guides his great reservoir of brains, this fellow contributes little and creates nothing. With a changed attitude, he could do great things indeed. He has the brains to be a tremendous success, but not the thought power. Another person I know was inducted into the Army shortly after earning the PhD degree from a Lee in New York University. How did he spend his 3 years in the Army? Not as an officer, not as a staff specialist. Instead, for 3 years, he drove a truck. Why? Because he was filled with negative attitudes towards fellow soldiers. I'm superior to them. Towards Army methods and procedures, they are stupid. Towards discipline, it's for others, not for me. Towards everything, including himself, I'm a fool for not figuring out a way to escape this rap. Knowledge lay buried. His negative attitudes turned him into a flake. Remember the thinking that Gaja intelligence is much more important than how much intelligence you have. Let me just read that part again. So I went to Whole Foods today. And I had got me some red snapper, which I'm about to make, in a few. And then I had got some pastries and stuff for when my children come from school. But let me just read that again. Honey, give me 1 second. The pastry is pastrying. Remember, the thinking that guides your intelligence is much more important than how much intelligence you have. But get this part. Not even, and this part I had to underline. Well, I had to make a little box for it. Because when I read this, I said, oh my goodness. Not even a PhD degree can override this basic success principle. Oh, so did I tell you that there are certain laws in this here universe that governs our lives? So you can be intelligent all you want. But if you have stinking thinking, negative thinking, how things never work out, or how you are superior than, everyone else, and, those things, those type of things. Okay? And how you don't want responsibility, because this is what the author says. He said, the people he know, they was geniuses when it came to intellect, but they stinking thinking held them back. They focused on more so why things wouldn't work. As far as, if I invest my money, it won't work. Of course, it's not. It's not. If you ever have that concept, before you do something, always ask yourself, how are you mentally? What's your perception? What you got going on within yourself before you do anything? Because if you already have the notion things won't work, okay, or why should I try? They never work anyway. Then that's exactly what's going to keep on showing up in your life. We have to be very mindful of what we tell ourselves, because is the thinking which causes the belief. And this is what I wrote down the other day, because and Gandhi had said this, okay? And I wrote this down when I was reading the book, because it was so fascinating. This is what Gandhi said. What do you believe? Your belief becomes your thoughts. Your thoughts becomes your words. Your words becomes your actions. Your action becomes your habits. Your habits becomes your values. And values becomes your destiny. So you got to ask yourself, what is it that you believe? What is it that you believe? So I'm gonna share a story with you guys this morning, right? So I looked at my numbers, right? And sometimes you can feel like you should be, further, right? So I looked at my numbers, and I looked at them, and I start feeling a certain way. But now I'm listening to Bob Proctor. Okay, I'm listening to Bob Proctor, and this is what do it for me, because it's a reminder of, do not allow. Hey, Anna, PCA, baby, PCA, PCA. It's a reminder to not allow the outside to punk you. Not allow the results to control you. Okay? And so I'm listening to Bob Proctor and stuff like that. And earlier I had made, a video about the socks, right? Like with my youngest son, who's 9 years old. So, this morning I'm telling him to put his socks on and stuff like that. I was already feeling some type of, because of the numbers, okay? And so I'm telling him to put his socks on and stuff like that. He don't want to put his socks on. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to call your father, right? So I called his father didn't answer. I don't know if he could still sleep or what. So I called his father, his father didn't answer. And then when I went outside, right? Now this is after me listening to, Bob Proctor. I'm on my way to the, train so I could go to Whole Foods. So I'm walking, and it just dawned on me. Something just said, but you don't have socks. Like, you telling him to put socks on, but you're not even wearing socks. Okay? You telling him to do something, you hypocrite. And so I started walking, and I started smiling, because I said, oh my goodness, look at this. Like I'm walking with the sneakers on, okay, with no socks on, and my sweatpants and stuff. And I'm here telling him, okay, the importance it is of having socks, when I ain't even got no goddamn socks on. So instantly, I started thinking about that, and I said, because I also, since his, calling the father wasn't enough, I also had to send him a message and tell him exactly, what our son was doing, okay? And then afterwards, as I'm walking, and I realized, oh my goodness, you don't even have socks on, right? I start saying, oh, maybe I should just send the father a message, never mind, disregard what I sent you earlier. So I told my best friend today that I was gonna be with other people this lunch break, and then she ignored me. Can you give me some advice? I'm super sad. Why are you sad? Listen, okay? You told your best friend, okay, that you are going to have lunch with other people, and your best friend decides to ignore you because of your preference, because you want to have lunch with other people, and she decides to ignore you, okay? And then you say, how does that work? Why would you be sad because it's something that you want to do? Like, sometimes we gotta start, asking ourselves these questions. If I have a preference, or if I decide, well, today I'm going, be with other people, okay? And that person gets upset, looks like to me that's an entitlement issue. Well, good for you. I say have the lunch with the other people. And don't be sad, and don't because sometimes when we tend to do things in life, what we do is, if the other person feel upset or sad or whatever, we won't do what it is that we really want to do, because we don't want them to feel a certain way. That's you going against yourself. So if you are more concerned about, and look at this, if your best friend, she bosses you around, right? And you tell her today, you know what, I'm gonna have lunch with other people, and then she gets upset, that's her problem. She has to figure out why she is upset. Perhaps maybe she upset because she can't boss you around any longer. Okay? Maybe she want to still have the power to boss you around. But I wouldn't I wouldn't be sad because it's a decision that I decided to make because this person was bossing me around. Why would I hang? First of all, get this. I'm not hanging around no one who treats me any type of way. And the reason why I say treats me any type of way, because the truth of the matter is, people cannot treat you no, that's okay. People cannot treat you any way than the way you permit them to treat you. Okay? So the reason I say I don't tolerate people to treat me any old type of way. Okay? Because one, I don't treat myself that type of way. So why would I allow someone to disrespect me? Okay? Someone to boss me around? Like I just don't permit that. I used to be a people pleaser. Until I started realizing pleasing other people was keeping me in a prison, mentally, perception wise. Me wanting to please them so much, I was going against natural law. I was going against myself. So yeah, there I am making them happy, but then on the back end, I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling upset. And you also have to understand this. People will love you in some cases, the ones who benefit from you being a yes person. They will love you as much as you continuously be a yes person. But the moment you say no, okay, is a problem, is an issue. And so that's why it brings me to the book, okay, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel. Okay, in that book, he states, you have to know who you are, because if not, what you do, it does not affect somebody else. So if you tell your best friend, well, I'm going to lunch with other people, I'm having a lunch with somebody else today. Okay. And your best friend gets upset, that ain't got nothing to do with you. That's her percent. Why is she upset? Why is she upset? Like the other day. Okay. All right. Honey, make sure you have lunch with some other people. Don't go. Let me tell you something, because if you have lunch with her today, it's going to be an ongoing cycle. But if you do have lunch with her today and continuously have lunch with her and keep getting bossed around, you got to ask yourself, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you will stop. When we get sick and tired of being sick and tired, we'll stop. We'll stop doing the things because us being sick and tired of being sick and tired, it causes us to ask for more. It causes us to want more, something different than what we've been accustomed to receiving. But don't go against yourself to make other people happy. Because, you know, you're going to go against yourself to make somebody else happy, and then you suffering. This person happy because you chose them, okay? But they didn't choose you, and now you upset. And it goes back to codependency also, because sometimes people say, well, I do this for you if you do that for me. You know, I do X, Y, and Z if you know, if you could love me and all this other stuff. But how about you love yourself? How about you learn to love yourself? How about you understand that love does not have no address? Okay, you've been looking, searching for love, and you know, thinking that somebody is going to give you something that you perhaps thought that you couldn't give yourself. The real thing is, once you learn to love yourself, once you learn to be your own best friend, okay, then the more you are able to give. But you can't do any of those things if you don't even know how to be that way with yourself. And we attract exactly what we are. So, you know, you can complain, cry, pray, get on your knees, and, you know, keep on doing the same exact thing and crying and taking pills and all this other stuff just so you could be able to cope. Or you could get down to it and say, why do I do some of the things that I do? And you could get down to it and say, you know what, from this day forward, I am going to choose me. Now, never think that, no, don't think that you're not going to be tested. Because to think that is foolish. You will be tested to see if you mean exactly what you say you mean, to see if you learned the lessons. And the lessons would be, you know, you don't feel good when you put people above you. When you choose people over you, you don't feel good. And so it'll be another situation that pops up. Whereas though the universe, it'll show you something else. And then you have to make a decision, a quick decision. Do I choose me or do I choose them? And we go through the lessons as many times as we need to. But when you start respecting yourself enough to say, I don't deserve this. I deserve better than this. But first it starts with you. Because before somebody ever did anything to you, you was doing that stuff to yourself first. Before somebody lied to you, you was lying to yourself first. Nobody can do anything to us that we was not doing to ourselves already. All right. So gratitude, day 12. And today is, what's today? I mean, I don't even, 1 second. Oh, May the 13th. So remember, writing a gratitude journal each and every day it definitely changes your perception and it changes your attitude. And there's so many things that you should be grateful for. Like, I always say you can start making a gratitude if this your first time and you just don't pretty much want to, because it's the consistency of the thing that we tend to do that counts more. The consistency, you showing up each and every day. That's more important, okay, than writing 5 pages of gratitude. So for me, if you just starting off, you could do, 3 things what you grateful for. One thing that you grateful for, because it's the consistency of you doing that thing that is going to change. Hell, hell. All right. So I told you guys my phone, right? But my new phone is it should be probably in the hallway now. How have being grateful changed your life? I just want to know. It sounds like a weird question, but I would like to know. First of all, it's not a weird question. Okay, that's first of all. Second of all, is this: when you are grateful, you move into a certain vibration, right? Um, when you're grateful of what you currently have, one, you're not so focused on what someone else has. All right. So you're not doing a whole comparison thing, which is going to ultimately put you in a worse mood. Okay. If you comparing yourself to others and saying, well, they have this and I don't. So one, when you grateful what you have, it puts things into perspective where as though, oh, now I could receive more, right? I always give this analysis. The universe is like this, right? You ever had a friend, perhaps you give your friend, an orange or whatever you may have, right? And that friend, every time you give her something, she is like so grateful for it. It can be something so small. I mean, it could be something from the dollar store, okay? Something so, by the way, they got some good stuff over there. But you could go to the dollar store, right? And give her something. She is like just, full of great gratitude, excitement. She's thankful. It makes you want to give her more, right? Like I know for me, I love giving. Okay. Like I love to be able to buy somebody groceries or whatever. Yes, even groceries, right? Or I love to be able to give them something. And when I give them something, it makes me feel so good. Like, oh my goodness, just to put a smile on a face, it does something for me. So when you are grateful, the more you are grateful, the more you can receive, right? So imagine this, because all the stuff we have, we wanted it once upon a time ago, right? Everything that we have in our lives, we wanted it, whether it was the relationship, the car, the marriage, the job, whatever. One second, honey, I gotta use the bathroom. One second. Okay, so we always, the stuff that we tend to have right now, right? You have, that's right. And no question is a silly question or anything like that. How you gonna learn if you don't ask? Right? Everything is about perception, you know? I'm not just gonna be somewhere and if I don't know, I'm just gonna, just act like I know. Cause then I never got to know, right? But that goes back to ego, right? Like the ego would tell you, don't ask that because it's stupid or whatever it is. But going back to it, so all the things that we have in our lives, we wanted it once upon a time, right? And now that we have those things, we often say, "Oh, I have this thing, but this old little thing or whatever it is, you could have your own apartment, right?" Now, once upon a time, it's like, "Oh my goodness, I want my own apartment," and now you got it, you have it. It's like, "Oh, this so junk or whatever it is, it's." And the more you are not grateful, the more you are in lack and scarcity, because that's mainly what it is. Because it's always two ends of the spectrum, right? It's either you grateful what you have, therefore you can receive more, but then it's also the ones who are, always looking at other people's lives and saying, well, this person have this and you don't have that, and so they always are doing a comparison thing, and they operating from scarcity and lack. And so when you operating from scarcity and lack, it don't feel good, because if you feel like you missing something. And so if you feel like you missing something, how your day is gonna be. It's gonna be filled with, oh my goodness, if I only had this, my life would be so much better. But what about what you have now? What about that you have money to buy food? What about that? What about that you are able to you was able to wake up this morning? Imagine if you didn't wake up. The things that you was complaining about, you wouldn't even experience those things because now you're gone. now you're not here, right? And so when we start looking at, gratitude, when I write my gratitude list out, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I do have this, I do have that. That's more focusing on, like, I'm grateful for what I currently have while I'm pursuing what I want. And Jim Rohn has said that. He said, learn to be thankful. And it's funny, I don't know what I was on. It was the same thing where I got this thing from for Gandhi. What do you believe? And Jim Rohn said this. He said, learn to be thankful for what you already have while you pursue all that you want. Because if you're not grateful, if you're not grateful, you operating from lack and scarcity. That's just it. To be grateful is to be operating from abundance, knowing that abundance is your birthright. And the more you are grateful for, the more you can receive. Because if you, like go back to the friend, a friend that you give stuff to, and he's never appreciative, and it could be even, family members, they never appreciative, it makes you feel like, I'm not going to give them nothing. I'm not going to do anything for them because they never appreciative. Now, if you still want to do stuff for them and you see they not appreciative, you the fool, because even in the universe, it don't even work like that. And sometimes we have to see how the universe works, how the these natural laws works. Because if you learn the natural laws, and I don't know all of them, but if you start learning the natural laws, then it's certain things that you would not permit. It's certain things that you just won't tolerate and allow in your life, because you'll say the universe don't even allow this. The universe, if I was to go against the laws of the universe, okay, I would get punished for it. And that's the same exact concept. So, you're trying to give, and you see this person is so unappreciative. They, oh, you got me this. Oh, I wanted something else. Well, why didn't you get it? If you wanted something else, you should have brought it. Why you ain't buy yourself there's something else? It's that same concept. Okay, so I hope I answered your question. Okay, so let me finish writing. I hope you guys are writing your journals, okay? Keeping up with your journals. Every morning we'll do this exercise, okay? I don't know if we'll do it for 30 days, but you let me know in a comment chat if you want to do it for 30 days or you want to go past the 30 days. But if you say you want to go past the 30 days, I am guessing that you are going to be doing the work as well. Not me just, talking about gratitude and me writing a gratitude list and you just, sitting back and not doing nothing. Okay, nothing. All right. Speaking of that, it's so funny how everything ties together with each other. And I tell you guys this all the time. That all the books I read, they go hand in hand with one another. Listen to this. Be genuinely grateful that your health is as good as it is. There's an old saying worth repeating often. I felt sorry for myself because I had raggedy shoes until I met a man who had no feet. Now, I don't know if you guys had heard that before, but I had heard that saying before, right? You feel sorry for yourself. This person felt sorry for themselves because they had raggedy shoes. But then they seen somebody who had no feet. So you can say, like back to the car situation. Some people will say they'll start comparing themselves. They'll see somebody with something, that perhaps look a little better than what they currently had. And they feel like, oh, this person had this car, I want a car like that. And then it's almost like, now they got this piece of junk. That's how they feel, because their car isn't as good as the other person's car. But it was once upon a time that you wanted a car. It was once upon a time that you wanted a car. And now you have a car. And so the most important thing for me for gratitude is, when you are so focused on what you currently have in your life, it takes away from the competing, right? Competing, like, oh well, this person have this. It takes away the comparison, and comparing yourself to someone else is the greatest thief. You rob yourself of happiness. You just rob yourself. Because to compete is ignorance. Because as soon as you start competing, you lose already. So that's really what it is. Okay. All right. So let me finish up. Honey, I gotta make this fish, and I gotta eat these mangoes. I'm gonna eat these mangoes today. I'm gonna eat them today. I'm so happy. Love that it truly helps you analyze the way you think. That's right, Tracy. That's right. Yep. Sometimes we gotta look and pay attention to the way we think, and if you're not appreciative of what you have, hey, you're gonna be appreciative when something new come into your life. Listen to that. Okay, family. So I love you guys. I love you. I love you. Make sure you guys are writing out a gratitude journal, and it also helps with a mental adjustment, right? If you are experiencing, I'm no doctor, and this is not giving out medical advice, okay? But if you are experiencing anxiety or depression or anything like that, when you are stepping into gratitude, because you can't do two things at one time. You can't, be operating from scarcity and lack and then be grateful. They two opposite poles. Okay, so it's either one or the other that you could be doing at the present time. So when you are, grateful for stepping into gratitude, you can't focus on, depression. Okay, you can't focus on mental health. You can't focus on mental health. I don't like to say give ownership to those that you have. But you can't focus on those things if you are focusing on gratitude. It's either one or the other. Okay. All right. And so with that being said, I love you guys. I love you. I love you. Thanks for tuning in. Okay. Make sure you go get you a notebook. Okay. Because it's one thing to talk about this stuff, but it's something completely different. Like I can tell you guys, be grateful. Right. But it's more powerful when you are writing the things down. You get what I'm saying? When you are incorporating these habits, because your habit is what's keeping you stagnated. Your habit, your routine is keeping you exactly where you say you don't want to be. So if you want better results, you got to change your habits. You have to change your daily habits. You have to change your routine. And if you don't change those, okay, then nothing changes. Okay, just FYI, just want to let you know. Okay, but you have the ability to change it. You have the ability to do so. But first, you have to do it. You have to be willing to do it. Like I tell you guys, when I first started, you know, before me doing the video, I was so eager for change. No, nobody had to make me watch personal development videos. I was eager for change. I wanted change so bad that I was willing to show up. I was willing to listen to the personal development. Okay, I was willing to pay for the seminars. Okay, I was willing to pay for the online train programs that the personal develop the people in personal development, you know, they was holding. I was willing. I didn't give no excuses because I already knew that what I was doing, it was not working. And so you have to ask yourself, and it brings, you know, it's funny because the next chapter that I'm reading in a prosperity Bible, it talks about willing. It talks about your willingness. And you have to be willing, although it talks about will. Yeah, the power of will, I think. But you have to be willing. You know, you could talk all day long, you know. Oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. In the words of Jim Rohn, I remember he said, you know, you can be all enthusiastic about, you know, going to the gym and lifting 100-pound weights, okay? But if you never done it before, okay, and you go and you lifting those weights, okay, that may not turn out so well if you never lift 100 pounds before. And it could be any amount of pounds, okay? But it may not turn out so great. So you really have to not only talk about it, but you really have to you know, walk it and live it. Okay, because to be honest, it's so easy to talk about the stuff. You know, it's easy for me to do the videos, okay, and come up with the ideas and listen to, you know, successful people and regurgitate. That is easy. You know what is more so a little bit more challenging is executing, okay, putting the stuff into action, what they had said. Even with the books, you know, anybody could read the books, but reading the books ain't only that's not what's gonna get you the results. What's gonna get you the results is the applied information. So you could read the books, or you know, you could read the books all day long, but if you're not doing nothing, you know, if you keep giving up all these excuses. Every time you get to the part where it says, you know, now do this, and, you know, and you keep giving up excuses. Oh, well, you know, I don't have time for that. You know, I got to go do something else. Yeah. You know why you're giving up excuses? Because of fear, because you're afraid. But your life ain't going to change because you don't want to face yourself. Your life is going to change when you face yourself. When you start understanding you have the ability to get different. You're a whole creator, okay? A whole creator. You could create the life that you truly desire, but it's up to you. No one else can do it for you, okay? And no one should have to make you do something, you know, like personal development. Like now that if you get the notebook, you get it. If you don't get the notebook, that's a you thing. But don't be complaining and saying, oh, well, your life ain't changing. Your life going this way. Your life going there. I don't want to hear it. Frankly, I don't want to hear it. Why? Because it's things that you can do that you can change your life. Like if I recommend a book and the person is like, well, you know, they've been complaining about their lives. Say I recommend a book. I have actually a book. It's called Happiness Hypothesis. Right. And if I recommend a book, if somebody been complaining about how they so sad and how their life is going this way, you know, they always talking about it and whatever you focus on grows. And then I come and I say, oh, well, you know, I got this book, you know, I read this book and oh boy, it did it for me. I started changing my life drastically. Everything in my life started getting better. And a person just says, oh, really? They never go get the book. Because the truth of the matter is they are more locked in to them complaining and locked into life giving them what they say they don't want, but in all actuality they do want it. Because if you ain't want it, you would do something different. If you did not want what life was giving you that you say you don't like, you would do something different. You would do something different. So with that being said, I catch you guys on the next one. Peace. Get your notebook if you feel. Get your notebook.